Hi guys, how's it going? This is Resident of Collingwood for YouTube, Resident underslash of underslash Collingwood for BitShoot, and I'm here to do with two Dark Shadows videos tonight. My first one is Barnabas going back in time to 1897, and really this is going to focus on more the decision for him to do it. You know, is this the moment that defines Barnabas Collins as a true hero? I think in many, many ways, when I think of does this moment define him as a hero? Because many people are going to point to the fact that he goes back and helped Victoria, which is true. And, you could say that moment. But for me, when I think of what defined Barnabas as the ultimate protagonist, as the ultimate hero, to me, in my opinion, it was definitely him going back in time to 1897. And here's why. First of all, the decision to go back, you know, going back, not going back is not an option. And Barnabas knows this. Here's these two kids, David Collins, his own cousin, Amy Jennings. Their lives are hanging by a thread, and he has to go back and figure out what's the deal with Quentin. Quentin, he has to stop Quentin from being killed. He has to find out what exactly is the deal with Quentin Collins. So, they have the I Ching wands. They set them on the table. Barnabas's astral body has to walk through that door into a physical body that's going to be there in 1897. And it is the physical vampire body of Barnabas Collins. And Barnabas realizes this once that door opens, those eyes, he's sort of like, oh shit. He's terrified and shocked at the same time. I love how Fred sells this with his face. It was a beautiful job. To me, this is all-time brave. And, many people are going to point to, okay, but he's a vampire in 1897. That's what makes it all the more braver. He's not just taking the risk of being exposed or getting caught as a vampire. He's taking the risk of being killed as one and never making it back to his own time. Or, to at least in 1968. But that's the beauty of it. Barnabas' character is taking as every risk to save these kids. So that's what I mean by this moment here, him going back and taking these risks to save two kids, David and Amy. To me, this is what defines him as a protagonist, as a hero. And look, I'm taking nothing away from himself willing himself back to 1796. But for me, this here, 1897, is something there's just something about it that when he does this and he's, Sandor comes because of these, well, that's where the jewels are, that's where they are, yeah. Barnabas is taking this risk because with 1796, Barnabas knew who the players were. He knew his dad. He knew, Nathan Forbes. He knew Angelique. He knew, with 1897, he doesn't know anyone really. And you might say, well, he knows about the Collins history. Yeah, but in the same sense, they don't know enough about Quentin to sort of make a judgment on him. And really, the people around Quentin respond to Quentin in such a unique and crazy way. It's part of it's negative, part of it's pessimistic. It's the tension between the family in 1897 is beautiful, by the way. the acting is really well done. The arc is really well written. And here for me, you have Barnabas just taking all these risks, right? And that's sort of to me why I look at 1897 and I look at Barnabas going back, using the I Ching wands, using his his astro body that, and my daughter's making a kid. Sorry about that. But I do think that Barnabas now has to deal with family members who he's not as familiar with as he is the others. And plus, he's used to the family members in, the 60s, not so much the 1800s. And that's sort of the thing, too. He now has to deal with people who, yes, are his family members, but in the same sense, they're sort of strangers to him because he's not familiar with them. So Barnabas's trip to 1897, his chance here that he takes, to me is what defines him as a hero. So that's you know what? That's sort of my part of my video. I'm going to do the part 2 video right after this. But the one thing I want to add before I close this video is what I find most impressive here is Professor Stokes is really one of the most interesting X Factor characters. I mean, he is always probing questions. I remember when Chris Jennings, stops the seance with Carolyn, in the 60s. He sort of looks at Chris like, I'm curious to why it is you did that. And it's so intense. Like, he looks at Chris like, why? Too. And it's so beautiful. And I love how when they say about the mausoleum during the when Barnabas is going into the I Ching trance, Stokes is right there probing Julie Hoffman, and she's like, I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, beautiful job. All right, guys, that's my first video. I'll get this uploaded for you guys, and then I'm gonna do my second video, which is entitled Meeting the Real Quentin Collins.